Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Natalie. Today I'm going to be making for you one of my absolute favorite dishes from Germany, and it is Champignonrahmschnitzel, or schnitzel in mushroom cream sauce. The sauce is very aromatic. There are a lot of flavors in there infused, and the meat is so tender. Traditionally they use veal in Germany for this dish, but I'm using pork tenderloin. You can also use chicken. But here in North Carolina, we have an abundance of pork, and this is the same cut that I use for my pork tenderloin and gravy sandwiches. All right, let's get started. Here are all the ingredients for this dish, and I will list these in the description so you have the proper measurements. But we have vegetable broth, dried mushrooms. We also have sliced mushrooms over here to the side. Let me grab those here. We have cornstarch, white wine. I use half and half, but it calls for cream. We have ginger, lemon zest, garlic, pepper, sweet paprika, cumin, and salt, and then I'm garnishing with chives. All right, and over here we have our pork tenderloin. It calls for 8 of these, but I'm using 5 because I wanted to save my pork for another dish. Okay, so first we are going to be taking our vegetable broth and the dried mushrooms. I use oyster mushrooms because they're very aromatic. We're going to heat the broth in here, and you're not going to keep it up high, just kind of medium to low to medium. And you're going to put the dried mushrooms in there, and then you're just going to let these kind of simmer a bit. You want the flavor of the mushroom to be infused into the broth, and then we're going to withdraw the mushrooms and discard those. So these are for flavoring. You can buy these usually at the produce section of Whole Foods or your grocery store. And they usually have different kinds of mushrooms, so you can find if there's a particular one that you like to use. But I love the smell of the oyster mushrooms, so those will soften. Probably should use a smaller pan, but that's okay. All right, so we're gonna let those go for 20 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna turn that heat down a little bit. Getting out of control. Let's turn it on the simmer. So I am also making a potato dish to accompany the schnitzel. And these are little baby potatoes, and I just cut them in half, and I want to caramelize the bottom. Okay, so we're going to remove the mushrooms. These are the dried mushrooms from the broth. And we're going to empty the broth out into a separate dish, and then we're going to use it later. So let me try to squeeze out any remaining juice. Over here so you can see. You don't have to do this, but it's something I like to do. There's a good amount of broth being squeezed out of these. Flavor. All right, set those aside. And then we're going to pour right there. I'm going to set this aside. So now we're going to fry the schnitzel in this pan. You're going to just kind of brown them on both sides really quickly. Then we're going to take them out. And then we'll go from there. Woo! All right. I am using high smoke point avocado oil. Let that heat up. And if you use 8 of these, you'll have to fry them in batches. And that is fine. Okay, I'm going to remove these from the pan. Just turn the heat, let me turn the heat off. All right. So you can see that they're already done basically on either side. Okay, so now we are going to take white wine and deglaze the pan. Go. That smells wonderful. So you're just going to get the gristle off the bottom of the pan. I'm not sure what the Sud, in German they call it Sud, I think. I'm not sure. I find that as I'm not using my German, I'm losing a little bit more of it each time. So I try to do the German crossword. It takes me like a month. I just, in my spare time, I'll do it when I have a quiet moment. All right, so we did that. That is nice. Now we are going to add the cream. Okay, here's the cream. I should use my bigger one, but I need this little one for another thing I'm getting ready to do. All right, so now we are going to take a little bit of water and make the cornstarch liquid, just so it dissolves evenly. Otherwise, you'll have clumpy cornstarch in your sauce. Let's do that. Now we're going to turn the heat up for a little bit and let this thicken. So let's turn this up to, oops. I'm going to put it up to a simmer because it's already pretty hot. Then when this thickens up, we'll add the lemon zest, the ginger, and the garlic. Make sure I have, all right, that looks good. So we're going to add the garlic, the lemon zest, oops, and the ginger. Okay, this has gotten a little bit too much here. I'm going to put in a splash of vegetable juice. And you can also add a little bit more white wine and adjust that as you like it. Because you don't want it to be, the consistency to be so thick. Now we are going to add the salt, the cumin, and the paprika. Okay. Give them a good stir. Now you're supposed to take, after a few minutes, take the ginger out. My husband loves to eat the ginger when I make this, so I'm gonna leave the ginger in. Okay, so now I'm going to fry the sliced mushrooms. And we're gonna brown those, get a good fry on each side. And you may have to do these in batches if you can't fit them all in. I'm gonna let that cook a little bit. Okay, it's time to turn the mushrooms, and it literally just takes a few minutes. All right, so they're all turned, and I'm gonna let the other side brown, and then we're going to salt and pepper these. Add the the broth back to the sauce with the pork and the mushrooms, and then let that simmer for a little bit. This is a wonderful dish to make if you want to have a dinner party, have guests over, because it's so unique and the flavors are really, really nice. You can have it with a white wine. Grüne Veltliner, I think, is a good wine to have with this. A Chardonnay. I'm playing with y'all. Okay, so this is where everything comes together. Move this over here. Okay, we're going to add our broth. Our mushroom flavor infused broth. I'm just going to whisk that around a little bit. Like I say, you can take the ginger out if you like, or the garlic. I like it, but I guess if you're having guests, if this is for guests, you may want to take it out. Okay, we're going to add the mushrooms back in here. Add the porks. Okay, then we have some pepper to add. I'm not going to garnish yet. Okay, I want to make sure everything is nicely coated, and we're going to let it simmer for a little bit. Okay, the schnitzel is cooked. Okay, I love the sauce in this dish. It is so delicious. Like I told you, it's very aromatic, and you have the cumin, the lemon zest. It just makes this dish. Very nice and tender. The gravy, highly recommend. And I like to garnish with chives and not parsley. I have chives in my garden year round, and I just don't think the parsley particularly adds that good of a flavor for some dishes. And I'm having potatoes, so very yummy. Okay, now here's the ginger. If you don't like ginger, you can discard that. But the mushrooms, oh, this is heavenly. This is probably one of the best German sauces that I've had. And this recipe is adapted from a cookbook by Alfons Schubeck.